Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'll be talking to you all about the anime tower defense of the week. I swear to god it's another week, another anime tower defense, I swear. But today I'm going to be showing my disappointment about the newly released anime Crusaders. Now I'm seeing a lot of YouTubers whose names I'm going to censor here speaking what I would consider a complete hanky-pank and trying to say it's good. But I'm here to speak what I believe to be the truth. Anime Crusaders is a disappointment on many levels. Now I know I can get some hate for this video, but I need to highlight why this game is a disappointment in my eyes. The trailer they put out for the release was rather well made, and I did like what I saw, which did raise my hopes pretty high for this game. However, upon joining, I realized that Anime Crusaders is pure RNG slop. Now granted, every tower defense anime game has a gacha. They all have some luck involved. But there were two things here in this game that made me want to hurl my guts out. But before we go into that, I'll give them excellent credit where it's deserved, because I'm not just being a hater here. I do think this game does execute some ideas very well. First of all, an in-game wiki for starters is a great idea, and I believe all tower defense games should have something of the sort. I will also give them props for making the rounds rather short. A 15-wave game mode is typically 3 to 4 minutes in Anime Crusaders, and I highly respect the faster-paced gameplay. Lastly, I will say the beginner progression is easy enough for any player to get into the game easily and without much trouble. Now let's get into the more disappointing aspects of Anime Crusaders. Now, my first issue has to do with two parts of the game in which, due to their existence, I'm gonna have to label Anime Crusaders as RNG slop. First of all, there are two secret units on the standard banner. The first one is a very reasonable 1 in 5k, that's not so bad. And then you have Broly, with a 1 in 50,000 chance with no pity in sight. Now, while gems are easy to earn for beginners, it seems that gem sources from the normal story modes will dry up quick, only giving 20 gems per match on the second time playing it. Now, my second issue with the RNG in this game is that double traits exist, and it's probably worse than how anime defenders of all games did it. There is a 1% chance you can roll 2 traits on one unit. Now, I want you to imagine trying to compete with some literal luck lord who managed to get some holy 1 in 100,000 or above trait pool. Keep in mind, leaderboards are meant to be competitive to an extent, so now you're competing against the luck and luck alone rather than actual strategy here. I do have issues outside of the typical horrible odds for an anime tower defense, which another issue I have is probably my most basic issue, and it's that everything looks unrefined and unpolished, which a better way to describe that honestly is that it looks like a game you would find on the App Store in 2014, maybe 2015. You know, actually no, it looks like Anime Adventures. That's the best comparison here. Basically, the UI is very primitive, I guess. The unit attack VFX are mediocre to say the least, and the models can be something else. I'm not, Like, look, I'm not saying this is the worst game to ever come out, but it's certainly not as good as other people are trying to say it is. Now, if we're gonna compare Anime Crusaders to other anime tower defense games on the market, such as Anime Last Stand and Anime Vanguards, I would argue that the models are comparable to ALS, but worse than Anime Vanguards, and that the VFX are in the same boat pretty much. The difference between Anime Last Stand and Anime Crusaders, though, is that Anime Last Stand has much more content, so over time, Anime Crusaders could be better than ALS as long as they iron out the RNG problems. Something else I wanted to briefly tap on is that this game removes one of my favorite things from Anime Vanguards and Anime Last Stand, in which that not all units in this game have passives, and if they do, they're very basic passives. It takes away a lot of the uniqueness of the units, and it's not something I'm a huge fan of. I will say though, if you're new to anime tower defense games, this game could be for you due to how easy it is to settle into and how the grind does flow smoothly in the early stages of the game. So overall, Anime Crusaders does have quite some cons and a few pros, but at the end of the day, I don't see it being a major competitor in the anime TD market. Of course, everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and I'm not throwing hate at anyone for having one. I would just like to re-clarify that very quickly. This video is not fully a hate video. Before we end the video, a joke for you as always. So far, I've opened up 3 birthday cards and I'm up 170 bucks. I sure love being a US postal worker. Well, that's the end of the video. Have a great day, everyone, and good luck on the grind. Peace. My name is Average.